The hunt begins across the cold black of space. Ships drifted like shadows between the stars. In this future, humans were almost gone. Some said they had been weak, others said they had been dangerous, but everyone agreed on one thing. There was only one human left. And someone wanted them found. Kayla Vore sat alone in her ship, the Ghost Wind. She was the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. Her name made criminals hide and warlords pay double for her services. She had hunted pirates through burning moons and tracked assassins into black holes. She never failed. This job was different. The client was hidden, a masked voice on a secure channel. The reward was more money than she had ever seen. Enough to buy her freedom from the endless chase. Enough to disappear forever, her target. The last human alive. It sounded simple, but Kayla knew it was not. The human had survived countless traps. They had escaped the Empire's soldiers, smugglers, even the cold vacuum of space. And now, Kayla would be the one to bring them in. She leaned back in her chair, replaying the only clue the client had given her, a grainy hollow image, a figure in a dark coat, face hidden, standing in the rain on a rusted city rooftop. The voice in the recording was calm. "Find me, Kayla. I know why you're here." Then the image vanished. Kayla's instincts tightened. The target wasn't just running. They were inviting her to follow. It felt like a game, but in her line of work, games got you killed. She set a course for Vornus 3, the last place the human was seen. The planet was a dying industrial world. Its skies were filled with smoke, its streets with shadows. A perfect place to vanish. The Ghost Wind landed on the edge of an abandoned dockyard. Rusting cargo towers rose around her like dead giants. Kayla stepped out, her boots silent on the wet metal. She moved like a ghost through the rain, scanning for any sign, a flicker. On her tracker, someone had passed through this area only hours ago. She followed the signal into a half-collapsed warehouse. Inside, the air smelled of oil and dust. There were footprints in the dirt. Human-sized, her heart quickened. Then she saw it, a message scratched into the metal wall. The letters were rough, hurried. "If you're reading this, you're already part of it." Kayla froze. The hair on her neck rose. Part of what? Was this a warning or a trap? A sound broke the silence, the faint hum of energy weapons charging. Kayla spun just as 3 mercenaries stepped from the shadows. Their armor was black, their visors glowing red. They weren't here for the bounty. They were here for her. The leader raised his weapon. "Your hunt ends here, Vore," he said. Kayla didn't reply. Her blaster was in her hand before he finished speaking. A flash of light, a shout. The warehouse erupted in fire and sound. Kayla moved fast, rolling behind crates, firing in bursts. The mercenaries were skilled, but she was faster. One dropped, then another. The last charged at her with a blade. She sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and slammed him into the wall. The fight was over in seconds. She stood there, breathing hard. Why were they here? Who had sent them? This was no coincidence. Her eyes went back to the scratched message on the wall. A cold thought ran through her mind. The human had known she would come here. They had planned it. Kayla returned to her ship. Rain dripping from her coat, she felt something she didn't like, curiosity. This wasn't just another job anymore. The human wasn't just a target. They were playing with her, and the game had only just begun. As the Ghost Wind lifted off, she set a new rule in her mind. She would not just catch the human, she would find out who they were. And why the galaxy feared them, somewhere far away, in a city that never slept. A figure in a dark coat stood watching a holoscreen. Kayla Vore's image glowed in the dim light. The figure smiled. "It's time," they whispered, and then they vanished into the night. Clues in the dark, the Ghost Wind cut through the silence of space like a shadow. Kayla Vore sat in the pilot's chair, staring at the star map. Her eyes kept drifting to the scratched words she had recorded from the warehouse wall. "If you're reading this, you're already part of it." Part of what? Kayla didn't like puzzles. She liked clear targets, clean captures, and quick payouts. But this human wasn't playing by the rules. It was as if they wanted her to follow, as if each step was leading her somewhere they had chosen. Her tracker picked up the faint signal of a ship that had departed Vornis 3 just before she arrived. Its signature was weak, almost erased, but Kayla was better than most. She locked on. The trail led to a forgotten mining moon named Droz 9. Officially, the moon was abandoned after its core collapsed. Unofficially, it was a place smugglers and mercenaries used when they wanted to disappear. The ghost wind landed on the moon's cracked surface. The sky was a swirl of ash and dust. Kayla stepped out into a world of broken stone and silent tunnels. Her boots echoed faintly as she moved deeper into the old mining network. The air tasted of rust and decay. She followed faint footprints through the dust. The size matched the humans from the dockyard. The trail twisted through narrow shafts until it stopped at a sealed blast door. Kayla ran her scanner. No power, no signal. She forced the door open with a hydraulic tool. Inside was a chamber lit by a single flickering light. There were no people, only the remains of old mining gear. But on the far wall, someone had carved another message. "You're getting closer, but so are they." Kayla frowned. Who were they? The mercenaries from Vornis? Or someone even worse? A sudden metallic click echoed through the chamber. Kayla turned. A hidden panel in the wall slid open. A drone floated out, small, silent, and armed with a camera. It hovered, watching her. Before she could shoot it, the drone projected an image into the air. The figure in the dark coat appeared again. Their voice was low and calm. Kayla Vor. "You think you're hunting me, but you're not. You're following the path I set. Step by step. If you want to know why, keep going. But know this. The others won't let you get to me alive." The image faded. The drone spun away and darted into the tunnels. Kayla chased it. The tunnels twisted like a maze. The drone always just ahead, but as she rounded a corner, a shot of plasma burned the wall beside her. She dropped low. Another ambush. This time, it wasn't mercenaries. 3 tall figures stepped into the light. They wore silver armor marked with the crest of the Dominion, the alien rulers of the galaxy. Their weapons were heavy and precise. The leader's voice was cold. "Bounty hunter, step away from this trail. The human is property of the Dominion." Kayla's mind raced. The Dominion never got involved in small hunts. If they were here, it meant the human really was dangerous to them. She pretended to lower her weapon. The leader stepped closer, and Kayla moved. A blinding flash grenade filled the tunnel with light. Kayla rolled into the shadows, firing short bursts. The aliens returned fire, their shots cracking the walls. Stone and dust rained down. Kayla used the chaos to break past them. The drone was still ahead, leading her deeper underground. Finally, she reached a large cavern. In the center was a broken mining rig. The drone hovered above it and projected one last image, a star map. Coordinates flashed in front of her eyes. Kayla memorized them. Then the drone exploded in a burst of light and static. She didn't wait. Aliens were already closing in. Kayla sprinted back through the tunnels, blaster ready. She reached the ghost wind just as the Dominion's dropship came into view. Her engines roared to life and the ship blasted off. The alien ship gave chase, but Kayla dove into the moon's thick dust clouds. By the time they cleared, she was gone in the quiet of space. Kayla replayed the coordinates. They pointed to a dead sector of the galaxy, a place with no known planets. Her instincts told her the human was there, but her gut also told her something else. This was no ordinary bounty. Every step forward pulled her deeper into someone else's game, and the more she followed, the more dangerous it would become. Kayla Vor was no stranger to danger, but for the first time in years, she felt something unusual. Not fear, not greed, but a strange, sharp curiosity. She leaned forward, setting a course for the dead sector. Somewhere out there, the last human was waiting, and Kayla intended to find them, no matter what waited in the dark. *. The rival hunter. The dead sector was a cold place. No light, no heat, no reason for any ship to be here. But Kaliver's nav system was locked on the coordinates she had taken from Droz 9. The screen showed nothing but a black void ahead. Somewhere in that void, the last human was waiting. She was 2 hours into the jump when the warning light began to blink. An incoming ship, closing fast. Her scanners read the signature and her jaw tightened. She knew that ship, the Black Fang. There was only one pilot insane enough to bring it here, Dravencore. Draven had once been Killy's partner. Before he decided credits were worth more than loyalty. Since then, they had crossed paths on hunts across half the galaxy. Sometimes working against each other, sometimes aiming for the same prize. It always ended the same way. Someone bleeding, usually not him. His voice came over the cum, smooth and mocking. Vor, you always did find the best bounties. Care to share this one? Kella's reply was cold. You're late, Core. I'm already halfway there. That's the problem, he said. Halfway means I still have time to take it from you. His ship swung in close, forcing her to change course. She cut power, letting the ghost wind drift into the shadow of a derelict station that floated in the void. Its hull was torn open, its lights long dead. Kayla slipped inside through a gap in the metal. Her ship's floodlights swept across corridors filled with frozen debris. The place was a graveyard, but it was the perfect place to lose Draven. She landed in what had once been a docking bay and stepped out. Gravity was weak here. Her boots lifted slightly off the ground with each step. The silence pressed in from all sides. Then she heard it. A soft clink of metal on metal. Not hers. She spun. Blaster ready, but Draven was already there. He stood on the far side of the bay, helmet visor catching the pale light. No words, just movement. In zero gravity, every fight was different. Draven pushed off the wall, spinning toward her with a blade in one hand. Kayla floated sideways, using a cargo crate to pivot and fire. The plasma shot missed by inches. He closed in, grabbing her arm. They spun together, colliding with a wall. You're wasting your time. Draven hissed through his cum. This human isn't what you think. Kayla shoved him off. Then, tell me what you think, she shot back. Draven only smiled. You'll see soon enough. They grappled in the air. Each move slow but dangerous in the weightless void. A missed grab meant drifting helplessly. A single shot could punch through a wall and suck them both into open space. Kayla finally twisted free and kicked off a support beam. She landed by an emergency console and slammed her fist on the release. The station's rotation shifted. Artificial gravity roared back for a moment, enough to slam Draven hard into the deck. By the time he staggered up, Kayla was already back on the Ghost. Wind, her engines burned bright, cutting away from the station. Draven's voice came over the cum again. Quieter now. You can run ahead if you want. Vor, but when you find them, ask the human about the signal. Then you'll understand why they need to be stopped. Kayla didn't answer. She shut off. The cum pushed her ship faster, but his words stayed with her. The signal, what did it mean? An hour later, the coordinates lit up on her map. The dead sector was no longer empty. A shape shimmered into view, a planet cloaked in invisibility. Its surface reflected nothing, hiding it from every scanner. Kayla's breath caught. She had found the human's hiding place, but as she began her descent, she couldn't shake the thought. Draven wasn't warning her because he cared. He was warning her because whatever was on that planet might change everything. Asterisk. The cloaked planet grew larger in Kaliver's viewport. Its surface was black, swallowing light instead of reflecting it. Even her ship's scanners struggled to read it. It was like the world didn't want to be seen. Kayla guided the ghost wind through the thin veil of the cloak. Suddenly, colors exploded across her view. A planet of deep green forests, silver rivers, and cities made of glass and steel. It looked alive, thriving, nothing like the dead rock she had expected. Her instincts flared. It was too perfect. Worlds didn't hide themselves without a reason. She landed on the edge of a sprawling city. The air was clean, the streets empty. Buildings rose like crystal towers. Every door stood open. But there were no voices, no movement, no life. Her footsteps echoed as she walked, each sound too loud. In the stillness, she passed a fountain in the center of a plaza. Water flowed clear and bright. But a single drop froze in midair. Hanging like time had stopped, Kala's breath caught. Her visor scanner blinked. No heat signatures, no energy readings. As if the city was a perfect projection. From the corner of her eye, she saw movement. A figure in the distance, watching her, tall, wearing the same dark coat from the holo messages. They didn't move closer. They simply turned and walked into an alley. Kala followed, blaster ready. The alley was narrow, lined with glowing symbols. Carved into the walls. They pulsed faintly like a heartbeat at the far end. The figure waited. "You made it." The voice was the same calm tone she'd heard before. Kala tightened her grip. "Are you the last human?" The figure tilted their head. "Last?" "No, I'm just the one they want you to find." Before Kala could react, the symbols on the walls flared bright. The air thickened, heavy and electric. Her limbs slowed. Her thoughts fuzzed. She stumbled forward, fighting the sudden haze in her mind. "This is the trap." The figure's voice echoed inside her head now. "They've been pulling you here since the moment you took the job." Kala's eyes narrowed. "They? Who's they?" The figure stepped closer. Their hood fell back just enough for her to see human eyes, sharp, defiant. "They're watching us right now. Vor. And if you don't leave soon, you'll never get off this planet alive." Ground beneath her shook. Shadows poured into the plaza beyond the alley. Tall forms, armored in silver and black. Dominion hunters, too many to fight. The human grabbed her arm. "There's only one way out," they said. Then they slammed a small device into her palm. It was a transmitter, old but powerful. "Follow the signal. Don't trust anyone. Not even me." Before she could answer, the human was gone. The alley was empty. The Dominion soldiers closed in. Kala ran, darting through the frozen city as energy blasts tore past her. She reached the ghost wind just ahead of the hunters. Engines roared, lifting her into the sky. But as the planet shrank behind her, she saw it shimmer and vanish completely into black again in the quiet of space. Kala looked at the device in her hand. Its screen flickered with strange coordinates. Somewhere far away, in another forgotten corner of the galaxy, and beneath the numbers was a single word: signal. Dead sector, living secret. The coordinates from the device pulled Kala Vor into a part of the galaxy where no one traveled. Black clouds of interstellar dust swirled outside her viewport. Her ship's sensors kept glitching. It was the kind of place navigators called empty space. But Kala was starting to think nothing in this hunt was truly empty. The ghost wind drifted between the shadows until her scanners caught a flicker, a faint energy signature. Where there should be nothing, Kala narrowed her eyes and angled toward it. As she got closer, something began to appear, not all at once, but like a veil being pulled away from her vision. A planet, blue seas, green lands, and glowing city lights, hidden deep inside the dark clouds. A place that had been kept secret for a very long time. She landed in a valley just outside a walled settlement. The air was fresh, warmer than she expected. The walls were made of old starship hulls welded together, parts from ships she recognized as human designs. Some of them were centuries old. Her visor scanned the area, this time. The readings lit up with life. Hundreds of people, human people. Kala froze. The galaxy believed humans were extinct, yet here they were, walking the streets beyond the wall. Some carried tools, some wore armor. Children played in dusty courtyards, laughing. It didn't feel like a dying species. It felt like a people waiting for their moment to return. She walked toward the main gate. 2 guards stopped her, both human, both armed. One studied her closely. "You're not Dominion," he said. It was not a question. Kala shook her head. "I'm looking for someone," she said. The guard's eyes narrowed. "They've been expecting you." Before she could ask, the gates opened. A figure stepped through. It was the same human she had chased across star systems, the one who had left her messages. They smiled, not the smile of a friend, but of someone who had been right all along. "Welcome to Haven," they said. "This is what the Dominion has been hiding from the galaxy, not the last human, Vor. An entire world of us." Kala's mind raced. Why hide? Why not fight? The human's expression hardened. Because the Dominion has a weapon, mind control. Every species in the galaxy can be bent to their will, except humans. That's why they tried to wipe us out. Kala felt a chill. The human continued. "We've survived in secret for over 200 years, but survival isn't enough anymore. It's time to take our galaxy back." They led her into a large hall built from the remains of a massive transport ship, maps and data screens lined the walls. In the center, a table showed a holographic model of Dominion fleets moving across star systems. The human pointed to one flashing point on the map. "This is the signal Draven warned you about. It's a broadcast that keeps the Dominions. Control active, destroy it, and every enslaved species will wake up. But it's heavily guarded, and no one gets close without dying." Kala crossed her arms. "Sounds impossible." The human smiled faintly. "Which is why you're perfect for it." Outside, night was falling. From the high wall of Haven, Kala could see the stars through the dust clouds. For the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about credits. She was thinking about a war, and the strange fact that she might be about to join one. Behind her, the human spoke quietly. "You've been chasing me across the stars, Vor. But now, I need you to help me chase something much bigger." The truth, the hall was quiet, except for the hum of old generators. Kala Vor stood at the center table, watching the holographic map slowly turn. The red points marked Dominion fleet positions. The single pulsing blue light marked the signal, the one thing that kept billions of minds enslaved. The human, the one she had chased across half the galaxy, walked toward her. For the first time, they removed their hood. Their face was sharp, their eyes steady. Kala realized they were younger than she expected. But there was something in those eyes, an old kind of defiance, the kind that survives centuries of hiding. "You still haven't asked the real question," the human said. Kala kept her voice flat. "And what question is that?" "Why you, Vor? Why I let you find me when I could have vanished for another 20 years? Kala crossed her arms. "I figured you just enjoyed being chased." The human smiled faintly. "I chose you because you've already survived. The signal, not many can. You've been inside Dominion territory before. You've walked past their patrols without falling under their control. That makes you dangerous to them and valuable to me." Kala frowned. She thought back to old jobs, times she'd dealt with Dominion soldiers and felt nothing. She had always assumed it was just her stubborn nature. But now she wondered if it was something more. The human stepped closer. "The Dominion doesn't just control bodies, Vor. They erase resistance. They rewrite thought. Every bounty hunter you've fought, every smuggler who's turned on you, they were already theirs." Kala felt a knot tighten in her chest. "You're telling me I'm immune?" "I'm telling you," the human said quietly. "That's why they want you dead." Silence settled between them, outside. The faint sound of children's laughter floated through the walls. Kala glanced toward the sound. "Your colony." "If the Dominion finds it, they will," the human interrupted. "It's only a matter of time. That's why we can't stay hidden anymore. Destroy the signal, and every world under their control will rise against them." Kala shook her head slowly. "Or fail, and they burn this planet to ash." The human didn't look away. "That's the risk, but if we do nothing, we die in silence. You've spent your life chasing targets, Vor. Now I'm asking you to chase freedom." Kala almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because she could feel the weight of the choice pressing down on her. Walk away, and she could take her reward. Vanish somewhere the Dominion never reached, or stay and become the hunted instead of the hunter. She met the human's eyes. "If I agree, we do it my way." The human nodded. "That's all I wanted to hear." Far above Haven, In the black cloud surrounding the planet, a Dominion scout ship drifted silently. Inside, a transmission was already being sent to the fleet. Coordinates locked, engines primed. The hunters had just become the prey. Across the stars, the first alarm in Haven came just before dawn. A single deep tone rolling through the valley. Kayla Vore was already awake. She knew that sound. It wasn't a drill. She grabbed her gear and stepped out into the streets. Sky above the wall was no longer black. Faint streaks of silver light cut through the clouds. Dominion warships sliding into position. The human leaders stood on the wall. Their face was lit by the glow of the incoming fleet. They found U.S. sooner than I thought, they said quietly. Kayla joined them. They were always going to. The city below moved like a living thing. Men and women ran to the armory. Children were hurried into the tunnels beneath the settlement. Old ships, patched and scarred, powered up along the landing platforms. The smell of ozone filled the air. Kayla turned to the human. We can't fight them head on. We won't, the human replied. Your ship can break through their blockade. Get to the signal before they know what you're doing. Kayla raised an eyebrow. You're coming with me. The human didn't argue. They simply grabbed a pack and followed her to the ghost wind. As the ship lifted, the first Dominion shot struck the wall. The valley filled with fire and smoke. Kayla punched through the clouds. The warships loomed above, vast, black, and bristling with weapons. One of them turned its cannons toward her. Her hands moved faster than thought, rolling the ship between plasma bursts. The ghost wind roared into open space, but the Dominion wasn't letting her go without a chase. 3 interceptors broke from formation, their engines burned bright. In her rear display, Kayla cut power suddenly, letting the first interceptor shoot past. She rolled underneath it and fired. The ship exploded in a silent bloom of light. The human gripped the co-pilot's seat. Those other 2 will call for backup. We don't have long before the whole fleet's on us. Then we move faster, Kayla said. Her fingers flew over the console. The nav computer screamed a warning. The coordinates to the signal were in the heart of Dominion territory, and the path there ran straight through a battle zone. The human leaned closer. This is where it starts. Vore, across the stars, from one world to the next. When the signal falls, everything changes. Behind them, Haven burned. Dominion ships descended like vultures. Kayla's jaw tightened. She'd seen plenty of worlds fall in her time, but this one wasn't going to be forgotten. She pushed the ship into hyperspace. Stars stretched into bright lines. The chase for one human had become the start of a war. Somewhere ahead, the signal waited, and Kayla Vore intended to tear it down, no matter how many worlds she had to cross, no matter how many hunters came for her. Far behind, in the smoking ruins of Haven, a Dominion commander stepped through the wreckage. He looked up at the empty sky and spoke into his cum. She's gone. Begin the hunt. The order went out across 1,000 star systems. Kayla Vore's name flashing in red on every bounty list. The galaxy was about to remember the name of the human race, and it would start with a single ship, cutting across the stars. Asterisk.